We caught him. We did it. And we're going to now sue 60 Minutes or CBS and Trump both for their editing of his widely anticipated sit down for the first time in a while with 60 Minutes. Now, I'm obviously being facetious. There are a bunch of edits, and we'll see later. We're recording this kind of right after it happened, and I'll show you some clips. But we can probably find interesting moments when they release the full or extra moments or the full transcript, parts that his incoherence was cut off for the sake of an interesting interview being broadcasted. But what I'm referencing is this interview. You'll see plenty of edits throughout it. Just like the Kamala Harris interview on 60 Minutes that Trump literally forced through his government power CBS into paying him. It's a payoff. It's a bribe, what they did. Paying him to get off their back so this merger could go through. And what was his argument with this lawsuit? They made edits and they trimmed down a longer answer to a shorter answer, kind of, but still broadcasted the other version at a different time. And he ended up doing all the stuff we've covered. So I saw a bunch of people posting, I'm going to sue if they have any edits. And of course there were, because that's how 60 Minutes is. It's literally called 60 Minutes. And to plug in an interview, you can't control exactly how long someone talks and the perfect little moments and then you have to have your other segments and you got to have commercials. Of course, it's going to be all these edits. And for him, if we were making the same diluted argument he was, we could just say, anytime you cut this guy off, which you'll see a bunch of times, we know how long Trump gives a thought, and it would cut off after like a few seconds of his thought once he made his point initially, that makes him seem more coherent, which is what his argument was with Kamala Harris. So it's ridiculous. But we could play that same game too if we wanted. We got him. But now let's talk about the substance, because that was catastrophic. We sat down and just watched it together as a team, live broadcasting. And so fun. And we had to stop watching football for this. Actually, there wasn't any football going on at that moment, but we're doing that. And I was having the genuine thought, because of the pomp and circumstance of a 60 Minutes interview, and he hadn't gone on during the campaign, and there was this just big drama around it, and he stormed out of or left abruptly his one back when he was president the first time. And then when you're in that context, seeing these clips, it kind of forced me out of my numb feeling where everything he does is just normal to me, unfortunately. And reminded me of how catastrophic it is that we're just in a place where the president sits down with a really reputable outlet, used to be at least, and he'll just lie. And they'll throw some fact checks in there. And we move on. And he just says whatever. Like, watch this first clip.
Just hit an all-time high. We're doing really well.
Can I ask you, Mr. President, on that point, though, when the stock market is doing well, that doesn't affect everybody. Not everybody's invested in the stock market.
It does.
But there have been grocery prices
are up. 401ks. People have 401ks. Their 401ks are double what they were a year ago.
But for people that don't have 401ks or are not invested in the stock market, but they've seen their grocery prices go up, inflation.
No, you're wrong. They went up under Biden. Right now, they're going down, other than beef, which we're working on, which we can solve very quickly.
So that would be an example of, he probably went on for another 10 minutes after that, and now she asked her next question, and we were watching live. In this clip, it doesn't show it, but she goes, on the economy, and moves on. Listen to what he said.
But they've seen their grocery prices go up, inflation.
No, you're wrong. They went up under Biden. Right now, they're going down, other than beef, which we're working on, which we can solve very quickly.
And then I add it to the next switch. And that's not, she didn't fact check it after that. She did in that one moment. And I don't know how long you could just sit there and go, no, they're up, no, they're down, no, they're up, no, they're down. But again, it's just a sad state of affairs where he says that, and it's not true. Grocery prices aren't going down. Then we move on to this. I did appreciate they put a pretty good bit of context here whenever he tried to lie about whether or not he's directing his Justice Department to target his political enemies. While we watch it, please do, if you appreciate this show, click the subscribe button. It is the easiest way to support what we do and the freest.
I want to ask you about another matter. James Comey, John Bolton, Letitia James were all recently indicted. There's a pattern to these names. They're all public figures who have publicly denounced you. Is it political retribution?
You know what? You know who got indicted? The man you're looking at. I got indicted. and I was innocent. And here I am because I was able
All right, Cole, give it to us.
I did everything right and they indicted me. To beat all of the nonsense that was thrown at me. And yet, when you go after a dirty cop like Comey or a guy like Bolton, who I hear I don't know anything about it. I hear he took records all over the place. Who knows? Letitia
So now we have a problem with taking records all over the place.
James is a terrible, dishonest person, in my opinion.
Did you instruct the Department of Justice to go after
Not
them?
in any way, shape, or form. No, you don't have to instruct them because they were so dirty, they were so crooked, they were so corrupt that the honest people we have, Pam Bondi's doing a very good job. Kash Patel's doing a very good job. The honest people that we have go after them automatically.
But in a Truth Social post from September addressed to Attorney General Pam Bondi, President Trump endorsed the idea that former FBI Director James Comey and New York Attorney General Letitia James were, quote, guilty as hell, and wrote, quote, justice must be served now. 5 days later, James Comey was indicted.
So I appreciate that fact check, or whatever you call it, because it's just, this is what I'm saying. This is so tragic. I don't think any of us are even that surprised. Yeah, of course, he's going to say he didn't direct them. He directed her publicly. Like, that's how it used to be. Even with Trump, he would work a little harder to lie convincingly. But then people don't really care. It's so weird. It's so sad. People don't care. He posted publicly a text that was supposed to go to Pam that went to everyone that said, get these people. 5 days later, boom. Wow. And then about his pardon of Zhangping Zhao, he was just being described as CZ in the interview. And that was the crypto businessman, benefits Trump's business, his company does, and then he gets a pardon. And watch, again, just blatant lying.
This year, the president has pardoned or shortened the sentences of more than 1,600 people. The latest pardon was for a cryptocurrency tycoon who is known as CZ. The company CZ founded, Binance, helped boost the profile of the Trump family's crypto firm, World Liberty Financial.
He pled guilty in 2023 to violating anti-money laundering laws.
Right.
The government at the time said that CZ had caused significant harm to U.S. national security, essentially by allowing terrorist groups like Hamas to move millions of dollars around. Why did you pardon him?
Okay, are you ready? I don't know who he is. I know he got a 4-month sentence or something like that, and I heard it was a Biden witch hunt.
In 2025, his crypto exchange Binance helped facilitate a $2 billion purchase of World Liberty Financial's stablecoin. And then you pardoned CZ.
It's like talking to a little kid. So you made a bunch of money and then you pardoned CZ. We'll just call him CZ. And that seems corrupt, right? I know nothing about him, which, by the way, well, then that's a scandal. You're pardoning people that you don't even know anything about? I thought we were supposed to be super mad because Biden used an auto pen, which has been used before. Trump uses it, so that you don't have to go yourself and do the actual physical thing, but you sign off on it verbally, and then someone does that. And we were supposed to be, all of Biden's pardons don't matter if they were used with that because he wasn't aware that they were happening. Trump just admitted a pardon happened and he had no knowledge of the person. Really? You're just, people are walking in. This guy wants a pardon. Who is he? They call him CZ. Give it.
How do you address the appearance of pay for play?
Well, here's the thing. I know nothing about it because I'm too busy doing the other.
But he
I can
got a
only
pardon.
tell you that.
But he got a
No,
pardon.
I can only tell you this. My sons are into it. I'm glad they are because it's probably a great industry, crypto. I think it's good. You know, they're running a business. They're not in government.
Did he just admit to a paid for play? She goes, well, what about the appearance of corruption? You pardon the guy. And he goes, well, my sons, they love him because they make me a bunch of money with him. Unbelievable. And just another day in our life now. This one's going to get you nauseous. Just get ready. Okay. the healthcare plan's coming.
We are now approaching the longest shutdown in American history.
Democrats' fault.
Under your presidency, we're talking about more than 1 million federal workers who are not getting a paycheck, including our air traffic controllers. You see there's traffic snarls out at the airports now.
Sure.
This weekend, food aid for more than 42 million Americans is set to expire. What are you doing as president to end the shutdown?
All we're doing is we keep voting. I mean, the Republicans are voting almost unanimously to end it, and the Democrats keep voting against ending it. You know, they've never had this. This has happened like 18 times before. The Democrats always voted for an extension, always saying, give us an extension, we'll work it out. They've lost their way. They become crazed lunatics. And all they have to do, Nora, is say, let's vote.
So, Hakeem,
Senate Democrats say they will vote to reopen the government if Republicans agree to extend subsidies for over 20 million Americans who use Obamacare for their health insurance.
Obamacare is terrible. It's bad health care at far too high a price. We should fix that. We should fix it, and we can fix it.
So here's the part. So you have his normal claims we've been hearing for weeks now on the shutdown. But then he just starts raging against Obamacare. So the natural thought is you're the president. Republicans have a majority in the House. Republicans have a majority in the Senate. If your reason to not just concede to Democrats' demand to open the government, which are these subsidies, then do you not agree there's a problem? And Trump goes, no, there is a problem, and it's Obamacare. We should fix that system. So then you go, what was the last? Didn't you try that before? And they do put this into the piece, but it was way back when he was president the first time, and it failed, but he was trying to repeal partially the Affordable Care Act. And it would have been disaster if that had a disastrous decision if that had passed. But that's really the only time there was a plan, and it would have been really bad. Millions of people would have lost their coverage. It wouldn't have been an improvement on the Affordable Care Act. And so since then, he's just been saying they have a plan to fix it, but not actually laying it out, as you well know, of course. And he finally lays it out here. No.
Far too high a price. We should fix that. We should fix it. And we can fix it with the Democrats. All they have to do is let the country open and we'll fix it. They have to let the country open, and I'll sit down with the Democrats and we'll fix it. But they have to let the country. And you know what they have to do? All they have to do is raise 5 hands. We don't need all of them.
But so you're saying your plan is to tell the Democrats to vote to end the shutdown.
Correct. Very simple.
And that you will put forward a health care plan?
No, we will work on fixing the bad health care that we have right now. We have terrible health care at too expensive for the people. Not for.
Isn't that interesting? That it sounds like he's saying, I want them to bend the knee, obviously. And there's plenty of reasons. There's a gargantuous set of reasons that it would be so good if the shutdown stopped, if the government reopened. And as we'll keep going through, Democrats acknowledge this is a rare case where they actually could force Trump into a concession to do something positive on healthcare. So that's what they're doing. And Trump and Mike Johnson are both sort of admitting that they definitely don't have a contrary or an opposing plan, but like they'll sit and chat about it with Democrats. But Democrats have already explained their plan. It's not a comprehensive reform, but just let's extend these subsidies and maybe we roll back a lot of your cuts to healthcare. So then if you're saying you don't want to do that because you want to present an alternative plan, present it. But obviously you don't have one. And that's been a thing for a decade now. And then you have this.
Of the government shutdown. We are now approaching.
And I think that's the same clip. So we'll, unless you want to watch it again, I don't. We get that. And then he gets asked, are we going to war with Venezuela? And he goes, I don't think so.
Mm-hmm.
Are we going to war against Venezuela?
I doubt it. I don't think so. But they've been treating us very badly, not only on drugs. They've dumped hundreds of thousands of people into our country that we didn't want. People from prisons, they emptied their prisons into our country. They also, if you take a look, they emptied their mental institute.
Yeah. Never heard that one before. So ultimately, she asks if Maduro's time is limited, which indicates, are we going to do something? We read in a different segment the reporting that strikes by the U.S. military on military installations in Venezuela are imminent, he kind of goes, "Oh, I won't tell you if that's true or not. Stay tuned," is kind of his message. A little bit chilling to be like, "Are we going to war?" And for him to go, "I doubt it." You never know. And then on the shutdown, we explained in a different segment also that they could get around needing Democratic votes by getting rid of the filibuster, but then that could allow Democrats to, if they get a majority later, govern without the filibuster, which requires the 60 votes in the Senate for most things. And I'd actually want the filibuster to be gone permanently, but Trump's calling for that. John Thune, I guess the Senate Majority Leader, said he didn't want it.
Oh, I like John Thune. I think he's terrific, but I disagree with him on this point.
He said today he wasn't going to do it.
Well, that's too bad.
Right. Do you think that's where his sentence ended? This is a long time coming, and now it's late, and I'm dejected by watching this interview and it reminding me of the real moment we're in. But this was going to be my triumphant moment where I say, see, they did what Trump said Kamala wasn't allowed to do, which is not even Kamala, what CBS wasn't allowed to do with Kamala's interview, which is make edits to make it more enjoyable to watch by trimming down people's answers like they do every time. And CBS paid him so he would stop harassing them crazy against the First Amendment. Then he gets asked, how do you think of the ICE raids? It's been pretty intense. And have they gone too far? Citizens being unlawfully detained and harassed. Lawful immigrants. Undocumented immigrants who, aside from being in the country illegally, have been law-abiding. When you said you were going to prioritize people who actually had done crimes beyond that and actually are bad for communities. And it's just been juicing up the numbers by whatever means, even if it means reallocating resources in a way that's damaging to our broader addressing of the drug crisis. And he says, no, I don't think we've gone far enough.
More recently, Americans have been watching videos of ICE tackling a young mother, tear gas being used in a Chicago residential neighborhood, and the smashing of car windows. Have some of these raids gone too far?
No, I think they haven't gone far enough because we've been held back by the judges, by the liberal judges that were put in by Biden and by Obama.
You're okay with those tactics?
Yeah, because you have to get the people out. You know, you have to look at the people. Many of them are murderers. Many of them are people that were thrown out of their countries because they were, criminals.
Well, you promised in your campaign that you were going to deport the worst of the worst. Violent criminals,
we're doing that.
Rapists.
Well, that's what we're doing.
But a lot of the people that your administration has arrested and deported aren't violent criminals. Landscapers, nannies, construction workers,
landscapers
farm
who are criminals.
workers.
Yeah. No, look.
Very dangerous nannies is his point there. Some serial killing nannies, I guess, have been... Now, we've covered the stories, and we've talked about the broader implications. This isn't, do you have the legal right to deport someone if they're here illegally? This is about what's actually best for the country. What's the most humane, of course, and what's just the most community safety and economic prosperity oriented, and how they've been doing it is not. And it is all about Stephen Miller, pardon the phrase, but like getting off to a big number that he's able to jot down, than making communities safer and better and doing what's in the interest of America at large. And that's just the case, but he's saying it hasn't even gone far enough. And then we'll finish with this clip.
Orhan Mandami, 34-year-old Democratic socialist.
Okay. I don't want to go through another Kamala thing where I get made fun of because I correct people, and apparently that's wrong. So I won't correct people. Say it however you want, I guess. But I get why MAGA says Mamdani's name wrong. Just like how sometimes we mispronounce purposefully people that we don't like's names. I get it. But Norah O'Donnell, right? Norah O'Donnell? Why are you mispronouncing his name? You're like a legit journalist. It's not Mamam. What
Zamdami.
It's not Zamdani, and it's not Mandami.
Orhan Mandami, 34-year-old Democratic socialist. He's the
communist, not socialist, communist. He's far worse than a socialist.
Some people have compared him to a left-wing version of you, charismatic, breaking the old rules. What do you think about that?
Well, I think I'm a much better looking person than him, right?
Really? Do people compare him to Trump? Just because he's breaking the rules? I don't know. That feels like, that's brutal. That is brutal. They do that every time. You know, Bernie is like anytime it's just an unconventional figure, it's kind of like Trump. Nah, it's pretty different, but all right. So that's the interview. And I'm excited to see, after we have some more time, after just sort of this breaking news coverage of it, to look through and see if we can find any little discrepancies where obviously there was plenty of editing, but like where it actually made him look better. Because then maybe we do bring the lawsuit and we just cite the precedent of Trump's case, even though I guess it didn't actually go to the thing, but they just settled it. Absurd. And now 60 Minutes, this really journalistic accomplishment. It's how long? A bazillion years it's been on the air, and is the epitome of journalism. Is exemplifying for us. It's true. Interviewing the president is important, but that this is it. He says whatever. You try to fact check him. Anyone who likes him does not care at all. They don't care if he directed his DOJ. They don't care if he ever has a healthcare plan. They don't care if he rips away his healthcare, apparently. Their healthcare, I mean. I told you it's late. And we just kind of keep vibing. And things will get worse before they get better. But then we're going to make them much better. That's my hope.